Can a child lose his childhood even before he learns what childhood really means? Imagine a child who wakes up every morning not to go to school, but to search through garbage or work in a dangerous factory. While other children play, dream, and study, millions spend their childhood working for survival. This is the painful reality that Anees Jung presents in Lost Spring. The title itself is symbolic. Spring is the most beautiful season of the year, just as childhood is the spring season of human life. But for these children, that spring never arrives.
Lost Spring by Anees Jung. Anees Jung is deeply concerned about children who lose their childhood because of poverty. Through two different stories, she shows how poverty, social inequality, and child labor destroy dreams. The first child is Sahib-e-Alam. He lives in Simapuri, a slum on the outskirts of Delhi. His family migrated from Bangladesh many years ago after losing everything. Every morning, Sahib searches through heaps of garbage. What others throw away becomes a source of survival for him. Sometimes he finds coins, sometimes toys, sometimes nothing. Every morning, the author sees Sahib-e-Alam searching through heaps of garbage. One day, she jokingly asks him, "Why don't you go to school?" Sahib innocently replies, "There is no school." The author casually says, "If I start a school, will you come?" To her surprise, Sahib immediately says, "Yes." Months later, Sahib reminds her, "Your school is ready." At that moment, the author realizes that what she had spoken casually had become a promise in the eyes of a poor child. This was not merely a question about school, it was a question of hope. The author calls her own words a hollow promise. What she had said casually became a dream for Sahib. This reminds us that privileged people often make promises without realizing how seriously the poor may hold on to them. While talking about children and poverty, Anees Jung recalls another incident from her childhood. Nearly 30 years ago, she visited the famous temple at Udupi. There, she saw a poor young boy who had come to the temple praying for just one thing: a pair of shoes. For that poor boy, owning a pair of shoes was not a luxury, it was a dream. 30 years later, when the author visits the same temple again, she notices a young priest's son wandering around wearing shoes and socks without even taking them off. Looking at the child, Anees Jung smiles and remembers the poor boy who once prayed for shoes. She quietly thinks, perhaps that dream has been fulfilled in the life of this child. Through this simple incident, the author reminds us that dreams do come true, but sadly, not for everyone. Later, Sahib begins working at a tea stall. He now wears clean clothes and earns a salary. At first sight, his life appears better. But the author notices something very important. Earlier, he was poor but free. Now, he is under someone else's control. His freedom has disappeared. The second story takes us to Firozabad, famous for its glass bangles. Mukesh belongs to a family of bangle makers. Generation after generation, his family has lived in poverty, making beautiful bangles for others while remaining trapped in misery. Mukesh's grandmother says that there was a time when they did not even have enough food to eat. Sometimes they remained hungry. She accepts poverty as destiny because generations have lived the same life.
Young girls sit beside elderly women, making colourful bangles. Ironically, these bangles symbolize the happiness and prosperity of married women, yet the girls who make them are too young to understand their sacred significance. They create symbols of celebration while growing up in darkness and deprivation. The bangle industry survives because of poverty. Middlemen, moneylenders, and factory owners earn profits, while workers continue to suffer. They work in dangerous conditions, damaging their eyesight and health, yet remain poor throughout their lives. Unlike others, Mukesh dares to dream. He does not want to become another bangle maker. He wants to become a motor mechanic. This simple dream becomes the symbol of hope.
Every child is born with dreams, not duties. Poverty may force a child to work, but it should never take away the right to dream. Sahib teaches us the value of freedom. Mukesh teaches us the courage to dream. Together, they remind us that education is not merely a privilege, it is the doorway to a better future.
Through Sahib and Mukesh, Anees Jung reminds us that millions of children lose the spring season of life because of poverty and child labour. Every child deserves education, freedom, dignity, and the opportunity to dream.
Lost Spring is not just the story of two children. It is the story of millions whose childhood has been stolen by poverty. The chapter urges us to create a world where every child enjoys the spring of life through education, freedom, and opportunity. If you found this explanation helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to ECF, English Core with Farooq Sir, for more CBSE Class 12 English lessons.